Farcaster. I'm hoping we're live. Welcome. It is Monday, October 23rd, 2023. And I'm here with Adrian this morning. How are you? How was your weekend?
Good
Anything exciting?
morning. Um, nope.
Nope.
Weekend was very was very chill. Had a little bit of rain on Friday, Saturday. Yesterday was beautiful. Did a lot of family stuff. Um, on
With
Saturday,
the
I was
fam.
I was scrolling Farcaster and saw something that caught my eye, and
Ah,
then I ended up having to write a blog post and
just had to.
pitch.
Just had to write a blog post. You know how you are sometimes.
So
I
be
was trying to
careful with
find
your
that one.
feed. Be
Be careful with your
careful with
feed.
your feed because it
Never
affects you.
underestimate. I love your post. Never underestimate how much power your social feed has over you. I was all set for a lovely chill Saturday and then had to start writing a blog about enterprise communication platforms. I love that. That's not even just like a little type of blog. That's like a whole thing. A whole big
To be
thing.
fair, I've had a blog drafted. I
Okay.
had a point of view on enterprise communication platforms. It's been drafted. People start
As
talking,
as does everyone. I mean,
as does
doesn't
everyone.
everybody?
And then you
So,
see people talk about it. It's like, oh, I should really finish that blog. So that's what I did Saturday. How was your
oh, that's
weekend?
awesome. I was mostly chill, trying to still catch up on some sleep from, you know, COVID and all that fun stuff. So, pretty chill weekend, but lots of fun things on Farcaster. I did spend some time doom scrolling, but you know what? You don't have to doom scroll because eventually you get to the end. It's really kind of interesting. You can eventually feel like you've seen everything. But we had some really fun stuff on there. I did want to mention the new Founders Channel series. I think this is really cool. That Dan's going to be hosting, and it looks like it's going to happen Fridays, 11:30 a.m. PT. Pacific time. Ask founder related questions, and I and others in the channel will try to answer like a collective founder AMA, and then inviting special guests. And the first one happened the other day. So that is exciting to me. I love the founder channel. I think it's something that's really special about Farcaster in general is that there are so many founders, so many startups that actually even come together on Farcaster from people that met on Farcaster like this. So so there you go. So I think that's a really special thing. And for me, like, I think I said this last week, like having, being an entrepreneurship educator, like seeing a channel like that is just gold. So fantastic new addition. Any thoughts on any of that and founder perspectives and fun things like that?
Um, I have not checked it out myself yet. I've been
Well, you got to jump
seeing, I
into it.
saw, yeah, I've seen people cast about it, so I want to get in there. But I
One second. Small coughing fit. Not bad. All right. Well, let's move on to Outcasters. Snapshot 15 is here. I love Outcasters. I really enjoy the photo feed is amazing. So just want to slide through this because it is really amazing to see some of these photos that came up. And hey, I did notice that one of your photos is in here, Adrian. I don't know if you even noticed that,
I
but your
did my book of questions.
yes, your book of questions, which we didn't even get to talk about last week. Oop, it's coming up fuzzy for me, but your book of questions made it in. I thought that was kind of fun. And there was just like, it was some really beautiful photos. So I love looking at Outcasters for that, but as well as kind of checking to see what's the latest on the active users and all that kind of fun stuff, the stats.
Yeah, so we've given shout outs to Outcasters in the past, and we probably will continue to do every Monday episode because it
Probably,
really is a delight on Sundays. Ghost Links is doing an incredible job
absolutely.
curating and making that happen every week, and the the visuals are really incredible.
And also,
I
I love sharing the top 30 active users because, we're both on there still. But you never know. We might slide off eventually, but we got some new entrants in there. Ivy, Rafa, Greg, Kenny, Perp, and July, and Heavy Goit, which I thought that's a kind of a funny, I like that name.
Heavy Gwait is
So
incredible. If you haven't followed her,
I have to
She's
jump. Oh, I have not followed. I don't think I know that name, and I was like, "Oh, that's a
okay,
cool
and you
name."
know what? And she is somewhat new, I believe, and she's
Oh,
just
wow.
jumped right in,
Awesome.
um, and she's got great vibes, so definitely check her out, and I just for anyone listening, if you get Outcasters, if you look at the most active feed and you think, "Wow, look at those insiders, I could never get there." You can.
You can.
You can. You just need to cast, and
You just need to
I
cast.
am living proof. It's not that deep, it's not that hard. Just, uh,
Just cast. Just
just
cast.
cast, just have some fun, yeah.
Just cast. That's all
Get in
you need to
there.
do. That's all you need to do. Um, Wanted to mention too, you tagged this one. Purple's next retroactive funding round begins on October 31st, and they have their new art is going this week as well because this week is their Purpleversary. So Wednesday we'll be chatting about that. And every person and project is eligible: software, art, media, content, and community. So that is coming up shortly. So that was a good tag. Who knows? Maybe we'll jump in that round. We'll have to wait and see. We might be ready. We'll see. I also wanted to
Purple's
mention
great, and
we love
my
purple.
I love purple. I'm the anti I'm the non-purpler, purple lover. But
It's hard to say.
when it comes to these rounds, and the props and the retroactive funding, um, submit.
Submit. Same
The
thing.
more
Cast,
the more the better,
cast,
right?
submit.
Like,
Yep.
yeah. And when it I there's a quote from someone I follow who does a lot of like just speaking. He says, "When in doubt, submit."
Yeah.
It,
And
it
I
like
agree with that. Yeah. And also get comfortable with sometimes you're not going to win, and that's okay. And it
mhm.
doesn't take anything away from what you're doing, and it doesn't mean that you're not as, valid or add value to the ecosystem. It's just that there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. So I think that's another important point too. When people get nervous about jumping in prop houses or submitting for things, like, just take the risk because you never know. And if not, if you don't get it, it just helps you improve for next time too.
And it
So
helps the seniors. So it helps the
helps the
seniors when
seniors.
you share what you're doing, put yourself out there. If you don't, only the most kind of brazenly confident people who will keep winning. And you don't realize when you put something out, it can inspire someone else who's doing something, maybe making something that wouldn't. So I think it helps everyone the more there are.
And we haven't talked about this, so I'm going to take this moment to ask you this question. Explain what a scenius is.
Oh, okay. Um, a genius is the term for collective genius. So, um, and it was coined by, you know,
I'm
um,
blanking as well. An artist.
you know,
Yep.
oh my God, where's Monday morning pre-coffee?
It's okay. Roll. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. We'll come back to it.
What's his last name? Um, but the idea that most major innovations happen within a scene, within groups of people. It's not the lone genius. So it goes against this kind of lone genius. And um, when you have a scene, which is what we've said, this is what Farcaster is. You have a group of people all over the world um, who are innovating, building, writing, creating, and that within a scene, everybody makes everybody better. So there's four characteristics of a scenius, but just the idea of like there's mutual appreciation. So but there's also this like friendly competition,
Right.
and and so we appreciate each other. We're all there, right? So you believe in this, but there's a little bit of friendly competition. So we're doing GM Farcaster. Who's doing another show, right? And does that make everybody better? And you kind of
Right.
encourage that. The idea also that within a scenius, risky moves are applauded, and you've got this buffer zone of people who will make it safe for people to take risks. And this is how innovation happens. So I kind of go back. We were chatting a little bit before we started streaming this morning about Brian and Unlonely.
Yeah.
Um, I'll defend him, and I'll defend his hot take because if I'm listening to what he's saying, we're within the scenius, and that's kind of he's buoyed by the scenius. So the idea of genius and is just collective genius,
I
and
do know.
it's
Yeah.
also completely permissionless. So to new people in Farcaster, there's no inner circle.
Right.
There's no one really in charge. It's permissionless of what you're allowed to say, what the norms are. It's constantly, you've got the
It's constantly
primordial
evolving
ooze,
from the culture. Yeah. Yeah.
and you can jump in. And the way you need to do it is just you participate. You can build an app, you can blog, you can write, you can sing, you can make art, whatever it is. It's just, it's, it's genius.
And I'm just captivated by that terminology. And yeah, Brian Eno. I know.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Doug.
Thank you,
I was
Vince.
like,
Thank you, Vince.
I
It's like the
was trying
funny
to come
thing
up with
about this
Eno's
is
last
that,
name. I'm like, what
yeah,
is his
Eno.
last? Right, duh.
Adrian did a lightning talk at FarCon about this and wrote and did a write up about Senius, and I've found that so interesting ever since. That because it really to me describes Farcaster so well as to why it's not just a social platform, why it's not just, you know, this, it's not the same as Blue Sky Mastodon. It's not. It's just has a very different um, value proposition, really, and that's the genius. So thank you for digging in there. Um,
And we didn't have this on
And thank you W Benz for
yes,
filling in the
Brian
pre-caffeine
Eno.
holes. Yes,
Brian
Brian Eno.
Eno, who is the inventor of kind of ambient music. He was a producer
Mhm.
in like British rock. And by the way, I just found out he's doing his very first solo show. He's like in his 70s,
Oh
and he's
wow,
touring
that's wild.
solo now after this incredible career. He's helped David Bowie and all these other, like, and maybe the Talking Heads. He helped produce and create like these
Right,
iconic sounds. Um,
so cool. So,
Keckers had a post yesterday remarking about how she felt like Farcaster was different from these other alt socials because a lot of the other alts were kind of a reaction to anti Elon. I don't like what's happening at Twitter. It
right.
becomes a reaction against. Whereas in Farcaster, she reflected there's a lot of people who respect Elon, like what he's doing, still like Twitter, but are choosing to come to Farcaster anyway. And there's like how that shows up in our culture.
I think I thought that was a really great point. I was looking to see if I had pulled that one, and I don't think I did, but I remember exactly what you're talking about because I was thinking the same. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I think there's something there because it's not just about being anti something else. It's about being for something new.
Mhm.
So and I think there's a lot to be said for that in general, and I think that's a lot of crypto in general, right? It's not just about I don't like banks. It's about I want something completely different. It's not just yeah. So it's not that I'm not looking to make a faster horse, right? And thinking of that old quote from
Kind of
Henry Ford,
forward.
right? If I had just done what other people had wanted, I would have made a faster horse, right? And that's not what we're looking to do. So it's a whole bigger thing. Um,
There's a
yeah,
lot of anti-bank sentiment in crypto
yeah.
though.
Yeah, there's
So
that, but that's just a starting point, right? That's just and that is
totally.
the starting point of Bitcoin completely.
Yeah.
But it's just the starting point. You can't just stay there. It's just not enough. Anyway, all right. Thank you for jumping on that. Because I keep meaning to like dive in a little bit more because we talk about the Genius all the time, but we really haven't like done a little bit of a background as to what that is. So moving on in the Genius, as a matter of fact, I wanted to mention I love the channel updates that you're doing, and I've seen a couple others do it as well in other channels. So this was this week in Farcast Her. A warm welcome to 84 new followers, which that's fantastic. And you shared the top and most active, and sort of a couple of cool casts as well that you thought were interesting. How do you think the channel experiment's been going so far for you as a channel lead? And any like feedback in general from other leads, what they're seeing?
Um, I don't have the latest feedback from others. I think everyone's experience is a little different. Um, I know we intended to do the experiment kind of up till November 1st. So we're about like, oh,
Mm,
just about a week away. So kind of it'll be interesting at that point to look back and see. Um, I know for me, I felt a little mildly uncomfortable in the beginning, just kind of forcing
mm,
activity, engagement farming,
yeah.
posting more than I want to be. But I've noticed even in the past week, and it's even if it doesn't always show in the stats, I'm seeing more people and more like a broader range of people starting root casts, like new casts
Yep.
responding. I am doing a meetup this week, a
Yeah.
virtual meetup for the channel, and immediately got people to RSVP. So um, we're looking for quality increase, not just GM, GM,
Yes.
GM, GM.
Right.
And I think we're seeing that. So I know for me, I'm happy with it.
I am
Um,
too. I'm and in the channels that I'm, in with channel leads, I think I've definitely seen some good quality uptick. Farcaster has been fantastic in terms of like the conversations that are happening there are always just really interesting. So I think there's a lot to it, and I haven't yet seen any like overreach or anything, but I wouldn't have expected to, but you never know. That's always the
mhm.
fear, right? When you have something like a lead or, somebody who's in charge of a subreddit or whatever, they can get a little, um, you know, big in the
Not
britches.
Yeah, so not my style to do that.
Yeah,
However,
you never know
you never
though.
know, but you never know how you're interpreted either, and
That's true.
intent and your true spirit doesn't always come out online. So everyone out there, I'm open to hearing what everybody thinks and feedback. So as far as Farcast her channel leads, if you have ideas, DM me, reach out.
Awesome.
Definitely want to hear everyone's voices. Um, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Um, so I want to jump into a few other things. This note I thought was fantastic. Greg, easiest way to gift a Farcaster account just dropped, and you basically sign a message, scan a QR code, and you pay for someone else's first year of storage, which I thought that is really cool. And I could see that being a really interesting thing to do for DAOs, for example, to bring in new members who might have missed that early sign up for Builder DAO or something. Maybe that's something we could offer as a benefit for our members, since we are using a channel to really coordinate and help us go. So or just for that Christmas gift for somebody you just don't know what to get them. I think that could be interesting. um choose wisely. Be careful. This may not be for everyone. The other thing I saw that I thought was it kind of tacks on to talking about founders. Shane Mack had a great write up about the best way to kill your startup and what I learned doing just that. And it was something he wrote his team about a year ago and sort of looking at where they are today. And I thought it was a really interesting reflection on the whole idea of startups and sort of the failure aspects of it, and how one of the things that he kept kind of coming back to was that money won't buy you success, right? You can't it's the other things have to come together. It's not just going to be because you got a lot of funding from a VC. It's not going to mean that you're going to be successful in what you're trying to build. So I thought the whole thing was really really pretty interesting. Did you
I didn't read it. That sounds great. I didn't read it, but now I'll tag
Definitely
that,
dive
and
in. It
yeah.
was pretty interesting. The other thing I kind of wanted to note, twice this, or and there might be more. I feel like I've saw a couple others too, but two that I tracked, Jacob and Backseats, both said they deleted Twitter. And I think my guess is, because I see both their accounts still on Twitter, is that they deleted it from their phone. So they're not checking it as much and kind of pulling back from that and spending more time on Farcaster. But I found that interesting, where I know for me, my Twitter X activity has decreased over time, as my Farcaster activity has gone up. Just, there's only so much time in the day. So I definitely see that changing. So I wonder if you saw, I know you probably saw something similar for you as well.
Yeah, I am very skeptic when people announce their
Their
departures.
their departures.
See, I've heard that song before.
I did think it was interesting because it's Jacob from Zora and Backseats. Both of them are pretty active or have been on Twitter. So Yeah, I'm
And
interested to see what happens
now,
because
granted, right, when
yeah.
influential people, want to say something for my team, sure, go, like
Yeah,
I'll take
yeah,
it. I
take it.
want Farcaster to win, so go
Yeah.
ahead, Jacob and Backseat,
Jake,
tell everyone you're
yes,
leaving
please
Twitter.
please stay on Farcaster. We want to hear
But
what you
it,
have to say though.
but it is
So,
it's an attention thing, right? We have finite time.
absolutely.
I've got two places I can choose. Um, where am I getting the most reward? And
Right. Right. Where's my, and it's signal versus noise and all of that kind of thinking as well. Like, so for me, it's really about where's my brain expanding and where am I just looking for the latest, crypto Twitter gossip kind of thing. So I'm really finding that I'm using these platforms very differently now. And Farcaster feels like more like, where I want to be most of the time. And with that, we are at our 21 minutes. I want to mention one last thing. This was KBC's Four Tribes on Farcaster. I'll have a link to this in our show notes, as well as a link to the actual write up on Paragraph. Really interesting kind of data analysis of Farcaster and tribes and leadership scores and neighborhood density. And it was really kind of intense, and I think I have to dive more into it because I'm not even sure if I fully understood it, but really interesting. So take a look at that.
fascinating.
Um, and thank you, W. Benz, for chatting with us today. We had a little quieter chat today, but man, Friday was busy, busy, busy. So thanks for showing up. We love having you here. And with that,
Can we do a
heading out.
quick
Go ahead.
shout out to Aryan, who may be driving with his family? So he said he wasn't going to be in the chat, but would try to listen in. So if you're out there streaming in your car, hi to your family and stay safe.
Hey, Arian. Our favorite, it's our favorite fan who always shows up and writes us poems and stuff. It's very cool. We love you. So thanks for listening, even when you can't be here live. We appreciate you. And that is it. Thanks, everyone. And we will see you Wednesday for GM Farcaster. Have a good one.